Andrew represents Seller's Choice. It's a company that is helping fashion retailers grow by doing digital marketing and a lot of different activities, including e-commerce marketing and stuff. And Andrew Imran is the CEO of Amedio Exclusive, which is a fashion brand associated with Order Hive. And he has been selling to a lot of retailers, wholesalers, and quite a few other online platforms too.
Beautiful. Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you, Andrew.
Okay, so Imran, while we start this off, maybe we can start off by discussing the kind of business you're doing, and maybe if you could give us a short introduction about yourself, and maybe we can start our conversation from there.
Sure. So first of all, I've been doing this business for about 8 years now, 9 years close to, and basically what we do, we have a full line of men's clothing, formal wear and streetwear. And we also have a woman's line, also clothing and lingerie that we deal with. So there's two separate brands. One's called Amadeo, which is the men's formal. And then the other one is Celino, which is the woman's side of things, and the men's streetwear. So it's two companies. The second company, Celino, we just started about 2.5 years ago. Me and my brother were doing that one together. Amadeo, I'm doing by myself.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot of products. I guess the way I got into it, I used to sell ties and clothing for another company, Hugo Boss, and I was doing pretty good as a salesman, getting a good commission, but it was more than the money, right? Like your name wasn't getting recognized, and so that's how we got into getting into our own brand.
Okay. So Imran, a lot of fashion sellers have asked us this question, that how when you are operating so many businesses, so many categories, so many different kinds of products, so to start off, how do you define your SKUs? What are the parameters that you think of that should be present in your SKU nomenclature, so that maybe your picking team, packing team, or maybe any other team which is trying to recognize the product, it becomes a little easier process for them. So how do you actually build your SKUs?
So now we build our SKU. Do you mean, first of all, for the warehouse team, or do you mean for our sales side of things, how we differentiate SKUs?
So it is for teams. Okay. Mainly we want you to tell them how to make an SKU or give name to an SKU in such a manner that it is understandable for the operations team as well as for the sales team.
Okay, sure. So because we have two companies, so the first thing what we differentiate the SKU is either AE, which stands for Amadeo Exclusive, or CE, which stands for Celino. And then in our warehouse, we split it in half. So one half is Amadeo, one half is Celino. So now, first off, the team there, they know exactly which side, if it's an Amadeo order or a Celino order. Next thing, what we do, we started off, and we just actually started learning this recently. Whatever the supplier, like the manufacturer that we get the product made from, they usually have a product code for their color. So it's usually a 4 or 5 digit number. Now we use that same number, we just started doing this, that same number for our product. So now if, let's say, for example, it's a dress shirt, and let's say it's a button-down dress shirt, and let's say it's an Amadeo button-down dress shirt, we would go AE, BD for button-down, because we also have French cuff, but this would be a button-down. So it would be AE, BD, and then the supplier's SKU or their number for their fabric. So now this way, when we give them that SKU number, like when we want to reorder it, the factory knows right away which fabric, because it's their number. So we just incorporate it into our SKU number.
Okay.
Right.
So basically you mean 2-3 things, I think, which I noted down was brand naming, brand in your SKU, the color in the SKU, and the type of the product that is there, right?
Yeah, so it's the company name, the type of product, and then the supplier's color number. So now if the supplier doesn't have a color, so if it's a jean, for example, if they don't have a particular number for their fabric, then we would have to name it ourselves. We would put our own number to it.
Okay. Okay. And Andrew, so you must have seen a lot of fashion sellers that you might have worked with. So do you have any advices on the kind of SKUs that people should be creating?
You know, we've had a few that have really started to look into the potential of doing more kits and bundles. So actually offering, you know, if you have like a sweatshirt and a shirt that kind of goes in hand, like actually offering multiple as a set as opposed to as just an individual SKU. Obviously, as someone in digital marketing, when it comes to the operations side, how they put that stuff together is beyond me. But what we have found on a conversion side is that some people it's almost like an immediate upsell. So they do have the opportunity to look into, oh, you know, I really want this jacket, but it looks great with that shirt, so I might as well get both instead of them having to jump around your website trying to find it in 5 different places.
Correct. So Andrew, what you're suggesting is maybe a bundling strategy works for a lot of sellers in improving their sales, then naming every SKU individually and selling them. So I believe both the strategies. So for whoever is listening, I think both the strategies work fine. I mean, having individual products and bundle products, I think that is a more advisable theory. What do you say, Andrew?
Yeah, both still work. You kind of want the data to lead you in any aspect of your business, right? So you can pull obviously any kind of data, however you're looking at it. You can look at overall when someone purchases this, do they usually purchase this? You can trigger that at any point throughout their funnel or throughout the life cycle stage of saying, you know, if you like this, then you'll love this, is usually what you see as an upsell. But if you offer it as a bundle, you don't even have to go through that process. You can reduce the amount of clicks and potentially increase the average order value.
Okay. So Andrew, Imran, the question then comes to you. If you're looking at producing bundles, what kind of bundles do you make? What kind of bundle products do you usually sell? And what are the kind of naming convention do you follow when you're creating bundles?
So right now for our bundles, we don't really bundle product because I think we're more of a higher end clothing company. So we don't really bundle our product just because I think it would make it look a little bit less, I wouldn't say cheap, but, you know, it just doesn't look as more appealing to the person who wants to spend a lot of money, you know, and look for quality. So we don't really get into bundles. The only thing we are bundling right now, and that's because I guess some of our buyers want it, is our socks. So we do bundle some of our socks together in 5 packs. And I mean, to be honest with you, there's no real system to it. We just let our factory pick the bundle. We're like, however you want to bundle it, give it to us that way. That's how we're going to sell it.
Okay. So you currently are picking up socks in bundles and then selling it also in bundles, right?
Yes. So we have the option of single or bundles, and the bundles is more towards wholesale, I guess. You know, like it's more wholesale, but when we're selling retail, it's more single. We don't bundle our stuff.
Okay. Anything that you noticed on why? So except the fact that you felt that the premiumness of the article is not being displayed within a bundle. Anything else that you felt why you do not want to? Is there something to do with inventory? Do you think that inventory of bundles is a little difficult to keep?
I think with the new software that's available, I don't think it's really difficult if you find the right software. I just feel, for us, it's more the appeal, you know, just for our product. I think it just doesn't work well, but I mean, it's a really good idea. I think it's something we're looking at down the road where we offer a package. So maybe like a dress shirt, a pair of socks, and, you know, a belt or something like that, a pair of pants, you know, where we give these guys the option of a summer bundle, or sorry, like for the summer, we'll have something like the loud bundle, the subtle bundle, you know, and that way their outfit is picked for them, just like Andrew was kind of mentioning, you know, like it's already kind of assembled for them, and then, you know, they can go from that. But that's down the road. We're not doing anything like that right now.
Yeah. Okay. And honestly, I would agree with him too. I wouldn't recommend it for premium brands. It can, I agree. I don't want to use the word cheap. It can lessen the aesthetic, I guess is probably what I'll choose to say there. Of like, when you have a more of a premium brand, like you really want to focus it on, this is a great product, this is the price, take it or leave it, right? It's basically what you're saying in not so many ways. You do wildly less discounts, if any at all. You don't do any coupons, you don't do any sales, you don't do anything along those lines. So bundling it makes it kind of feel like you're doing like, it's the same product but discounted. Like you really don't want to discount anything unless you did something later on down the line of like a sale rack or something like that. But I would agree, if you're doing more of a premium brand, it's not something I would suggest.
Great. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen who have just recently joined in, we have two other panelists with me. Andrew, who is the marketing director of Seller's Choice. He works with a lot of fashion brands, helping them grow, helping them become the kind of premium brands that they want to become in the future. And Imran Hassam, who is the CEO of Amedio Exclusive, who has been working with two brands, includes all kinds of products, men's apparel, women's apparel, and lingerie also. And he has been selling wholesale, retail, and maybe to an extent also, uses a lot of inventory management processes. So just to introduce these two, and to all the audience who are listening, I would like to advise you that, if you have any questions, you can always raise your hand, or within this webinar, if you feel that you also have a question, we are going to conduct a short Q&A session at the end of it. And you can talk to us via the via this platform. And so, Andrew, majority of this audience is from US, and some of them from other countries also, US and European countries.
Oh, yeah. I like knowing specifically where they're at. So my favorite thing to do in webinars, and just be like, where's everyone at? And I get to like, oh, that's crazy, I've been there once. So I figured I would kickstart the conversation a little bit. But thank you.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, we would also love to hear from everyone where they are from, and what kind of if there is anything country specific in terms of inventory management, we would like to hear that for sure. Well, let's see at the end of the conversation. Maybe if we find some insights which are very, very specific to a country, it'll be great. And yeah, Imran, by the way, is from Canada. So yeah. Thanks, Imran, for specifying that. Thank you so much. Yeah, so Imran, coming back to the question of setting up a warehouse, I think one of the first problem that most small retailers or people who are starting off their businesses or people who are doing this for the first time face is how to set up a warehouse. What should I do? How much space should I buy? What kind of spaces within the spaces, what are the amount of racks I should be buying, and how do I organize each and every product within my warehouse? So would you like to advise them on anything very specific to the way you organize your warehouse?
This is like a very good question, because I know when we first started our warehouse, we had no clue where to start in our warehouse. So we were doing retail before. We just got into wholesale, mainly, and we closed our retail down. So our warehouse is only about 2 years old. And when we first started, we actually split it with another person, because our warehouse was pretty big. It's about 7,000 square feet. So we split it in half. And honestly, I don't even know what to say. We just started. And at first we were taking very little space, compared to what we had available. So we're no, wait, we have to grow. We have to, the empty space motivated us to get our sales higher so that we can get into more product, fill the space. But when it comes to procedures and stuff like that for warehouse, I guess, the only thing that I've learned over the last 2.5 years is basically, try to keep your products categorized, which people probably already know. But when you start, you have no clue as to how much space everything is going to take. You just kind of have to just do it. And you're going to be prepared to rearrange your product, many times. Honestly, just don't get frustrated, that's all I can really say about that. It's just trial and error, when it comes to Yeah, when it comes to like sorting your warehouse, at least for me.
It's funny. I would agree with that. It's funny because we have that same problem, but like on a marketing side. But it happens with so many businesses where like they spend so much time and so much money on figuring out what they think is going to work and never executing a thing. So they go through this whole long process of like, we should do this and we should tweak this color and we should send it at this time and we should do this. And then I read this article, so let's change that. But in reality, it's like, you're never going to know. Like every brand is different. Every category is different. Every business owner is different. Like the best thing you can do is just do it and then let the data start to tell you what to change. And it sounds like warehouses, it's the same process. Just put it in there, categorize stuff like you think it should be, and just be prepared to change it.
Exactly, Andrew. Like I know so many people who spend so much time trying to draw out or map out a warehouse, and they spend 2 weeks or 3 weeks doing nothing. And instead you just start, just do it,
And most of the time when they launch it, they're wrong.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
come back and fix it anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think all the new listeners, I think there's an advice for you. Just start off. Just put your warehouse, just categorize them the way you feel they should be categorized, and probably the system will itself show you where to categorize what. Am I right?
Yes, through trial and error, yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, so but now, Imran, you have reached a stage. Now, what is the categorization? Do you kind of do you organize products based upon the kind of orders you're going to get, or do you kind of organize your products based upon the similar looking categories together, the similar looking categories in the front, and probably the low selling stock at the back? Do you make such segregations? Do you actually try doing this, that maybe the products which are not going to sell too much in this very season, let me put that at the back, and let me put the products that are selling like hotcakes in the front? Do you do such any such activities?
So honestly, like I'll tell you, even after 2.5 years, it's still a lot of trial and error. And the reason being, because if let's say it's winter and we put all our winter product in the front and we put all our summer product in the back, yes, that would be ideal. The staff for the team, they wouldn't have to walk as far. But the move of these things back and forth actually takes more time to reorganize, because I think our warehouse is pretty big now. Like even the 7,000 square feet is not enough. So we're getting a bigger one. So I feel like if we kept moving things like, setting it up for a season, I think we would be losing time. So, but what we do, we have a mezzanine upstairs, and we do put like, let's say, product that's not selling well, dead stock, we slowly take it up there to make more shelf space for our downstairs operation. So our main stuff is downstairs. Our slowing stuff, we do move it upstairs. But in terms of organization, like there's really no way to know. Like sometimes our French cuff dress shirts sell really well. Now we try to keep some empty space because we know we're going to order more, but like we can never judge that right amount of space. And now if you put, let's say, a shelf for French cuff shirts, and let's say you end up getting like 2 shelves worth of it, where do you put it? You know what I mean? Like it's so hard to keep it organized. At least I found, maybe I'm not good at it, I'm not sure, but at least I found it's very hard to judge, so it's best to just do it on there, try to do as best as you can. But I really honestly have no procedures for the warehouse. I'm still learning.
Okay. So Andrew, I think he has raised a very amazing point. So, I've seen a lot of retailers do this, a lot of fashion retailers do this is, they create two layers of two floors within the warehouse. And what they do is, if they start finding that, okay, this stock is my dead stock, what they generally end up doing is they put it on an upper shelf, or the kind of shelf which they visit less often. Instead, if they were to think that, okay, let me just try out some kind of promotional activity on this dead stock, and maybe let's just sell it off. What is your advice to them? How should they operate? What kind of things they should be doing, especially with their dead stock?
That's one of those things where, like, I feel like someone would give you a straight answer on what to do, but it's going to be really dependent on the brand. Like if you have a premium brand, I really don't suggest doing some big like blowout half a year sale kind of thing. Like it can belittle the brand. You want to hold like, you know, this is our pricing, this is what we sell, it's a great product, and you kind of own that mentality. Whereas if you're selling more discounted stuff, then that's a little bit different. If you're able to do coupons and you're able to do stuff like that, you can always have some big blowout sale. So let's say Imran here had, he didn't have a premium brand, he had a regular, like lower end brand. I would do a mezzanine sale, and I would literally do a video of like all the stuff sitting up in his mezzanine, and I would do a whole process of just like, here's everything we have that we're looking to get rid of. Obviously not like literally word for word like that, but I would do like something along those lines. I would even call it the mezzanine sale. I would actually kind of bring the consumer in on it, and then I would walk through like each individual product. And if you're just looking to liquidate to get cash in there, cut your pricing as much as you want, but you don't want to overdo it. Sometimes if you have like, someone had this graph once, and I wish I'd saved it, but it was like this massive bell curve of just all of a sudden, once you started giving away a discount, like 60% or more, it just tanked, of like people who did not want to do it anymore, because it immediately cheapens the brand. No matter how cheap the brand was already, after 60%, people start to question it, and they go, well, why is it that cheap? So there's a ton of different ways that you could do it, but you're going to have to be careful and know your audience.
Correct. So I think a mass brand, a kind of a brand which is targeting masses or a large number of audiences, or sort of a regular brand, a non-premium brand, maybe they can try something like a discounted coupon code, or probably making a video around it that, okay, this is the kind of sale we are organizing, and probably have an Amazon presence of that sale or something. And while a premium brand, so what do you think a premium brand would do in such scenario?
A premium brand, I'd look into resellers. I'd look into other companies who have a lower end brand who actually handle multiple brands, and I would find ways to sell it off to them and let them run a coupon on it instead of you doing it, because then you're just lessening your brand. So if it's more mass, you could always do a seasonal closeout sale of, you know, stock up for next winter or something like that. But if you're a premium brand, I'd look into resellers and let them deal with it.
Okay. Imran, so moving on to the next one, you know, maybe along with this, what I've discovered is, you know, there is a lot of things associated when you're trying to sell that dead stock off. What happens is your inventory of your dead stock hasn't been counted for a very long period of time. I understand you're not doing, you being a premium brand, you don't do such activations and stuff. But then, do your resellers do any such activities? Do you think that they are, you know, maybe you can give them any kind of impetus? And does that, how does that impact your inventory? How does that, you know, maybe impact the way you're organizing the products within your warehouse?
So first of all, Andrew is exactly right. We do go through our resellers. We go through what's called flash sites. And, you know, they go and sell our product for us. And the thing is, nobody on our website, our customers or anything like that, you know, knows about it. We let it go for cheaper. It's sold through their customers, and everything is great. The other thing, what we do with our dead stock, or not our dead stock, but our slow moving stock, is we bundle it. So like, for example, if let's say, you know, our cufflinks aren't selling, then we'd be like, okay, we have a promotion. Buy a French cuff shirt, or buy 2 French cuff shirts, get a free set of cufflinks. So now slowly we're moving our cufflinks and we're promoting our sales of our French cuff. You know, so we're going to do things like that to get rid of it. But yeah, like as Andrew said, mainly reselling. We don't like it, in the end, if we have to take a loss on our product, we're going to take a loss on our product. We hate products sitting, because we could use that money obviously in getting new product for new seasons. So we do not let things sit, and we do whatever we can to get rid of it. And mainly it's through flash sites and resellers.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so Imran, would you like to shed some light on your picking and packing process? How many employees do you think you need from the start till the time you've reached here? What are the kind of scales? You know, you might have operated on many different scales. What are the kind of picking and packing processes, or probably, you know, stock count processes that you have done within your warehouse? Would you like to share those experiences with our participants.
Okay. So first off, like with our warehouse, I literally go to the warehouse once every 2-3 months. I know it's really bad, but that's what I'm doing right now. So like, I'm so busy because like now that we're doing online, I'm literally in front of my computer 18 hours a day. I'm not even lying there because we're, doing very good on sales, but obviously marketing takes a lot of time to get your name out there. So at the warehouse, I'm not there that much, but in our warehouse, we do currently have 4 people in our warehouse. We have one person who pulls our orders. We have another person who receives our orders. So like that's when we place our orders from our factories. And then when the person who pulls the order, the second person who's supposed to receive the orders, he doesn't have as much orders because we don't get new orders every day. He then double checks the order, whoever pulled it. So we have a big table. And when he pulls the order, he has a shopping cart and he puts his product in the shopping cart, whatever is on the order that we receive from our customer. Because our orders are usually big orders. They're not, we get retail orders, but we more get bigger wholesale orders. So he'll have a shopping cart or whatever. He'll pull the order, put it in the shopping cart, and then he'll leave it with the PO on top of the shopping cart. Now the person who usually receives our big orders, he's going to double check the order. So he pulls the PO out, he takes everything out from the shopping cart, puts it on the table. Then from the table, he double checks the PO of the product and puts it back into the shopping carts as he double checks it. So this way there's 2 people checking the order, and it's a very simple process. It's in the shopping cart, on the table, off the table, and into the shopping cart when he double checks.
Okay. But as a business owner, now that you told that you visit the warehouse 2-3 once in 2-3 months,
yeah.
How do you accurately manage the information? So maybe you might be getting some stock count done on regular basis, and then check whether it is kind of reaching the virtual number that is being shown on a software, or probably maybe going on the visit that you do to the warehouse. Are you kind of building a process where you actually check, or you get some information about everything being perfect or proper within the warehouse?
So yeah, luckily I was lucky enough to persuade my brother to join us. So my brother, he's actually in the warehouse every day. So he gives me all updates, and I give him procedures and stuff to make sure that things are good. So like what Andrew was saying, we do like he mentioned, the flash site sales. So we work with some big companies. Now we know when we have a big sale. So let's say we're doing a big sale of our French cuff shirts that we want to get rid of, and let's say we have 100 styles. About 5 days before that order, because I know it's with a big company and we don't want to mess up the order, we don't want to sell something that we don't have. About 5 days before that big sale, we give the styles that we're submitting for the sale to, like, I'll pass it through my brother. So there's a program that we use called Asana, which is really helping us with management. So I'll pass that order through Asana to my brother. My brother will then print it out and give it to the team, and they're going to double check. They're going to recount the inventory. So we have like 4 people in the warehouse. The other one, he does all the recounting before the big sales. So 5 days before the sale, he recounts the product quickly, and just make sure that everything is right. And then we submit it to the flash site for a sale. Because we never want to, we used to, when we were short staffed, I guess, we used to just assume that our inventory was always correct. And that's the worst thing to do. Never assume your inventory is correct, because you don't know where it could go. You don't know what could happen, whatever. So now we do recount it before the sale.
Okay, that's a very interesting point you're getting to, Imran. If you just assume that all your products or all your inventory that you're being shown virtually is absolutely correct, you might end up losing sales, and you might be out of stock, and you might not even know. So Andrew, have you seen, or would you like to share with us some insights on what kind of impact does it create that maybe you ran a sale on a certain product and eventually found out that that product actually was out of stock, or very quickly went out of stock? Within a few hours of your sale, it went out of stock. and maybe you were running this kind of advertising campaign on a marketplace. You worked hard to bring it on the top. People started looking at it, finding it, and eventually, because your inventory was mismanaged, your product is now out of stock on the marketplace, and you have something in your warehouse. What kind of impact does it create within for any kind of retailer?
So your question is, if we ran a campaign that did so well it ran out of stock, right? Like, what would I do?
Yeah. No. Let's just say the inventory is mismanaged. You have a certain number of pieces of inventory within your warehouse, but unfortunately you were not able to display it properly on the marketplace. So let's say you were running a promotion on Amazon. You showed that you have 100 pieces that went out of stock within a few hours, but actually you had 200 pieces and the other 100 pieces were not visible on Amazon, or you did not map them correctly, or the SKU mapping was not correct. What kind of impact does it create? Sorry to interrupt you, Andrew.
Yeah.
I think a few people have a few questions. So Lisa, we would be discussing your question at the end. I think you have a very interesting question. We would be discussing it at the end. Yuron, your question also, definitely we would be answering it in a while.
We'll get you guys. So on Amazon, if you run out of inventory, your ads get turned off. If you're doing Amazon advertising, if you're running an off Amazon campaign targeted towards Amazon, that's a different story. That can be kind of a pain, because then you have to go and turn everything off. So if we go through this whole, like, let's say social media advertising campaign, we prepped all this creative, and then inventory wasn't, mapped correctly, and we ended up running inventory way too fast. We then went through this whole work of setting up this campaign for it to just be completely wasted. Now, I would like to think at this day and age, there are so many softwares out there to easily map, how much inventory you have in Amazon. But in reality, most people are doing FBA now anyway, because you want to be Prime. So unless you're self-fulfilled Prime, but either way, most people are FBA. So if they are FBA, you in fact have your stock at Amazon. So typically you don't have that kind of issue that often, because you do know how much stock you actually have at the Amazon warehouse.
Yeah, I get that. So, let's just say I took up a wrong example of Amazon. Let's say you ran a campaign on Shopify. You're running a Google ad about a certain product on Shopify, and because of the mismanaged inventory, you found out that you ran the campaign. People did land on the product, but your product ran out of stock within a few hours. And now you have inventory, but your campaign has ended. And now you're stuck in a situation where you could have utilized that the sale in a better manner, but you could not because your inventory was mismanaged. Have you seen such scenarios? Have you actually, maybe experienced it with some of the retailers?
Yeah, that's one of marketing people's favorite thing, is to yell at the people in operations. But the backup plan you can usually have there, especially with Shopify, is you can set up, they have a couple different plugins where if you run out of stock, you can have an immediate pop-up or a replacement of that area that says, give us your email. We'll let you know when this is back in stock. We're expecting it within X. And, you usually do it like, we're expecting it within 3 to 4 weeks. If you can get it in 2 to 3, so you can, over promise, under deliver. Nope, other way, under promise, over deliver. But then that way you're getting your email list. You have some other ways around it. It's a nice little backup plan to have. Ideally, you don't want to have that issue. But on a marketing side, that's usually what we have set up to cover in case operations does something wrong. Okay.
And Imran, the same question to you. So do you kind of keep any safety stock? Do you think safety stock is a solution to that kind of a problem? Or do you just rely upon, maybe just keep a button where you get information if you're low on stock, or you get some information, or you can put up such information on Shopify product listing where you tell people that, okay, we will be delivering this product to you within a short span of time?
Luckily for us, like with OrderHive, it has helped us tremendously because we are selling in so many different platforms. So luckily for us, like that has helped us. So we have not had really issues with inventory, but when we do a sale with, let's say, a flash site, and let's say we're selling a blue belt, for example, and let's say we have 50 pieces in stock, we do usually submit only 40 just in case, because sometimes something could be defective, something like that. You don't want to lose a customer over a product. So what we do give them less. And now let's say that blue belt sells out within the first day. And let's say this sale was supposed to go for 5 days. Let's say in the first day it sells out completely. Then what we'll do, we'll take out those 40. And then if we still have 10 left, we'll tell the flash site, hey, look, we found an additional 10, add them to the sale. You know, so like we would rather not oversell. We will take every procedure possible not to oversell, because we know we're going to lose, well, we could lose a customer for a matter of one product. So yes, we do give them less usually inventory than what we actually have, just because also we sell on many different other platforms as well.
Okay. So Imran, let's just answer Lisa's question. She has asked that she has a small scale business and all her products are private label. So to avoid dead stocks, is it okay to have bundled those products with some other fast selling products to just clear off the old stock? So she's telling that basically she's incurring some losses by making these bundles. And is it a good idea to incur loss and just clear the old stock off, or should she wait? Should she just, maybe steadily wait for the good time to come in and then probably sell off the dead stock?
Well, for us, like, I mean, everyone's situation is different, but I would always think that if you had a product for a long time, yes, you know, whatever it takes to get rid of it. She can bundle it with something else that's selling good as a gift. Like she could be like, I don't know what she's selling, but let's say she's selling clothing. So with a dress shirt, for example, like we did, we bundle off our cufflinks, like let's say if they're not selling well, with our shirt to promote our shirt sale to eventually break even instead of losing money, let's say, or even make money, you know, in this transaction. But with us, like also like 99% of our product sells very well. So with the 1%, we don't want that dead stock. We want that money in purchasing the 99% of the stuff that's selling well. So yes, we will take a loss anytime. We have no problem with that.
Okay. And Andrew, I mean, Lisa, if you could specify what kind of products are you selling, it'll be great. I mean, if you could tell us on chat, what are the products? What are those low selling dead stock kind of products? What are those fast selling products that you sell? And is there some categories that you have defined? Maybe we can, answer you better on the kind of bundles you should be making and how you can actually incur lesser amount of loss. I cannot assure you that there will be no losses, but yes, you can try and, prepare a bundle where you end up making lesser amount of loss. Andrew, any suggestions on that?
There is a few different things you can do. So, and I agree with Imran. Like it's going to be dependent on your brand. Some people it'll work really well. Other people it may not. But so you have a few different things, right? I would probably not increase the price of a fast selling top product with something that's not working, because then you'll just drag it down as opposed to improving the lesser selling product. What I would do is I would do maybe some kind of sale of like, when you buy this top product, get this for free, and just give it away, or provide that little extra value. So send the top selling product and then include that other product as a inside the package, and leave them some kind of like handwritten note or something like that that says, hey, we really appreciate you shopping with us. We think you may also enjoy this. So maybe send it with something that's similar or that matches with that. The other option that you could do, which this is going to be really dependent on the product and how much of a loss you actually want to take, but you could actually do some kind of quick sale for new customers only, maybe run a social campaign, exclude everyone who is purchased with you before, and give away the product. Give it away for free, do free plus shipping or something along those lines. And then that way you can get their email as well as their address, and you can market to them in other ways later on down the line.
Okay. So Lisa Andrew has replied she's actually working with women apparel and accessories. So I think, the idea that both of them, Lisa, are suggesting are, uh, you know, maybe if you're bundling, you bundle it in such a manner that, it looks as if you're giving the low selling product out for free, or maybe you're trying to give it as a gift to the consumer, so that your fast selling product, maybe eventually it might, you might have to incur a few losses, but then just think of it this way, that you're actually improving your customers' happiness quotient. Let's also look at Euron's question. Euron is asking, anybody is running an online store as well, how to process transfers from warehouse to online stores such as Amazon? Are you creating an order to count the shipment or using stock transfer? So Euron, mainly if you wish to transfer your stock from your warehouse to Amazon, you can use a software like OrderHive, and probably you can transfer it with one click from your warehouse to Amazon's warehouse. Maybe you can talk to one of our sales rep, and maybe you can understand it in much better depths on how to do this with very minimal number of clicks. So you don't have to create an order, you just have to create a shipping plan by which you can transfer this lot of products, the set of products that you want to put into Amazon's warehouse. I hope I'm answering you, Euron. Is that right? Is that the kind of question you wanted to ask? Yeah, great. Okay, Imran, any suggestions on this? Is this the way you transfer your stock to Amazon? Is there something that you specifically want to tell people who are transferring their stock to Amazon warehouses? What kind of precautions they should be taking? What kind of any suggestions on those lines?
Okay, so with us, like, I made a big mistake. I went into websites. Like when we built our website at first, we built it through like WordPress, and I'm not going to say it's a mistake for everyone, whatever, but for us it was, because WordPress, it's not Shopify, and with Shopify, when you build a website through Shopify, it's very easy to transfer product to eBay, to Amazon, and to so many other platforms. So like basically my advice is research, like what we said about the warehouse, just jump into it. This is kind of a little different. When you're building a website, don't jump into it, do some research, read around. Shopify has made our life so much easier when it comes to transferring product to other platforms. We're actually going on platforms that we would have never even thought about because Shopify suggests them. And it's just a click of a button, and basically all our listings go to eBay. So like, it's my advice for the websites with the online store is obviously, yeah, Shopify, people are jumping to it for a reason. And just to do some research, and don't ever get overwhelmed. I feel like with this world, there's so much software and there's so much apps out there that make what would have taken, let's say, like thousands of hours down to like 2 hours. And also outsource, find some people. There's a lot of people all over the world who will do your data entry. Why are you doing it? You should be focused on making sales. You should be focusing on making your product better. So like, yeah, my advice is basically try to outsource, do research. Google is the best invention ever. Use Google to find your answers. It's simple.
Okay. So I think his advice also goes on what kind of online stores you should be choosing, what kind of, what should you be expecting when you make a store on Shopify, or what should you be expecting when you make a store on WordPress. You should always research, and I think he's absolutely correct when he says that you need to research and find out what are the pros and cons and weigh them down before actually selecting an online store, or maybe even when you're putting out your products from your warehouse to Amazon, what are the kind of pros and cons that are going to happen? What are the kind of costs you're going to incur? So, it's always good to research. There are a lot of sellers who are being successful even while they are on seller fulfilled Prime. So they are keeping the stock within their own warehouse and servicing it and yet being successful. And there are a lot of others who have put their stock in FBA. They're selling it on multiple sales channels, and they're also, achieving success. So there's nothing stopping success from anywhere. It's just about researching on the pros and cons that are going to happen when you actually select an online store or the storefront on which you want to build your website, and second on the kind of the kind of stock you want to send to Amazon. Right. So guys, if you still have any questions, if you still feel that there is something that we Imran and Andrew can really answer for you guys, you can post it to us right away. You can raise your hands. You can ask us any questions if you have right away.
And maybe in the meantime too, like to add on to Lisa's question about the how to get rid of, like, I guess, dead stock or something. Like another thing too that we do, it's like a little trick, I guess, with the flash sites when we sell with them or with the resellers. Sometimes, like, let's say it's like if we're selling dresses, because we have ladies clothing too. Now, some of the dresses, obviously it's the color, like people want the blacks and the whites over, let's say, the turquoises and the greens, stuff like that. So your green, it's the same quality, it's the same style, it's the same everything, it's only a different color, but it happens to be a slow selling item because of that. So a little trick that we do sometimes is we actually give the colors that are not selling, because it's usually the color that causes it to be a slow moving product. It's not the product itself, it's a color. So we actually give it to these resellers for a little bit cheaper, like maybe $5, $10 cheaper. Now they go and sell it in return for $5, $10 cheaper. Now the customer who's looking at it, he or she is like, hey, this is a mistake. Like, how come it's the exact same product, but why is it $10 cheaper? I'm going to take green over black because it's $10 cheaper. You know what I mean? And it's almost like they think that it's a trick that someone has made, so let's take advantage of it. And we've noticed that has worked very well for us to get rid of some of this slow moving stock.
Yeah, that's brilliant, Imran. That's brilliant. Andrew, you wanted to add something to this? I think he made a very valid point that the colors are the selling point, because on any online platform, it is the color or the look and feel of the product is only using photographs. So colors and maybe the kind of show that you have done on the store, which is going to sell your product. So do you think that this helps a lot of retailers? Do you think it will help retailers?
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. At the end of the day, I find a lot of sellers worry so much about really, really protecting their profit margin, which obviously, that's why we're all in business. Like, I get it. But you can also justify giving away the product at a less expensive price, ideally through a reseller if you have more of a premium brand, and just getting your product out there, because that's now one more person that is now aware of your brand. So don't try to really make it like some exclusive club that everyone has to be in order to buy your product. Have it be more like we're an exclusive brand, and if you can get it less expensive from someone else, that's totally fine. I don't mind, as long as people are talking about my brand and the word of mouth is actually moving. So giving it away to a reseller to let them discount it is perfect.
Okay. We have another question from Chelsea. She asks, where do you find the wholesalers? Imran, would you like to answer this? Where do you find the wholesalers?
This is a big question. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of just, it comes to you sometimes. So like, for example, I with dress shirts, we were doing dress shirts. And when we first started, we were bringing our dress shirts from China, because obviously that's where most people start. Now we noticed that, we were getting some returns. The sizing is a little bit off, it's a little bit small, whatever. So now again, I really love Google, So what I did was I just go into Google and I'm like, high quality wholesale shirts. Now, obviously I didn't find the factory that we're buying from like that. But you know what? It led to another person that led to another person that led to another person that eventually finally found me the source. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of research again, is what I would say. But sometimes you just, when we first started buying, let's say our cufflinks, for example, and let's say we were paying $20 a cufflink, after we started buying 2 or 3 times from them, our cost went all the way down to $8, let's say, You know what I mean? So it's, you gotta just jump into it, but do your research, but get into the purchase. Don't have to buy big orders. And slowly, as you start buying more and more, it's going to be like your price is going to start going down, but you will never just find, like what I'm getting at is you will never just find your supplier. You know, it's not going to happen that way. It's going to be a process. Some people, like, they sell on wish.com, and wish.com has some cheap items and stuff like that. Now, maybe you start by buying from them. Once you find a product that sells good that you're buying from them, you know they're buying it from someone else. So now you go to like AliExpress or something like that on Google, and then you find your source. But for me to just give a given answer as to where to find the suppliers, I don't think there's an answer. You just got to just dive into these places, and yeah.
Imran, I think she has a little different kind of a question to this. I mean,
Okay.
he meant a little different thing. What she said was, let's say you're overstocked. You have a lot of products, a lot of quantity of products within your warehouse of a certain category. You want to sell it off to a wholesaler.
Okay.
Where do you find such people who would be willing to buy your product probably in wholesale at a certain amount of discount? That's fine. But you know that this stock is not selling. You want to sell it off somewhere. You want to just make sure that your warehouses are empty. And that is why you're willing to sell it off at even at losses to certain kind of wholesalers. Where do you find such people?
Oh, no, this is another tough question. Okay, so like when we have a lot of product, again, it really depends on the type of product. But I mean, if you have a huge bundle of product, you just want to get rid of it at whatever cost. I think like what we do, we obviously have a website, so we'll put it on our website, I guess, for a little bit lower. We won't go drastically lower, but we do also have experience with buyers. So a lot of buyers have been buying, let's say, our premium product, and like we'll just be like, hey, look, you want to take all of our China shirts, for example, we'll give them to you for $2. You know, like we go to previous customers. Now, if you're trying to look for new customers, I mean, there are websites that introduce wholesalers to buyers. You know, you just have to search for them through Google, I guess. Maybe Andrew can answer this a little bit better than I can. Yeah.
I got
Yes,
I got some sneaky ways around that. So you can take a page out of a lot of apparel companies that do not talk about this, but they all have their own like second website that is in fact their product, just cheaper. And they'll integrate with different coupon sites and flash sale sites, because in Shopify, you can just create a plugin and connect with certain people, send them your product feed, and sell off your product significantly cheaper. So you could be your own wholesaler if you really wanted to. The other side of it, LinkedIn's great. You can always find different ways of like, okay, I know of this company. They look like they sell similar stuff at discounted prices. Let me go see if I can find the owner on LinkedIn. There's some ways around that. You can obviously set up your own different ad campaigns and own different workflows under a different name to try and target some of those wholesalers. There's several different like back alley ways that no one really talks about. Like I think it's Gap who has like 3 or 4 different like just cheaper versions of Gap that's just a new name. So you could always do something like that. My favorite is just the companies who are like, screw it, I'm just going to make a second website with a different name. I'll drop ship a bunch of other stuff that's similar, so it doesn't look like I'm only selling this one thing, and then I'll just sell my stuff cheaper. And then you can integrate with all the coupon sites and do it that way.
Okay, so Chelsea, yeah, there are some ways, yeah, really interesting ways. Andrew, thank you so much for that. Yeah, so Chelsea, maybe you can always search for them. You can always create your own other website where you're actually selling them. So I'm assuming you're talking about your own private label products. So it's okay to have 2 private labels. Probably in the second private label, you're trying to sell off the stock at probably a little discounted rate. And there you also have a page where you're trying to tell people that if you are a wholesaler, if you order in bulk, this is the kind of discount that we would be giving you or something like that, right? So I think that is an interesting way. yeah, that's great answer, Imran and Andrew. Thank you so much. Anything else from anyone? Anything that you feel you want answered from Andrew or Imran? Anything that you feel has been missed out by us? Anything that you feel that maybe you wanted to know and did not get covered? You can always send us an email. I would be pinging the email ID here. You can always ask us questions on that. And we will make sure that your questions get answered by the correct kind of experts. Right. So any last thoughts, Andrew? Any last thoughts, Imran? Andrew, if you could go first. Any last thoughts, any things that you want to tell all these retailers?
Yeah, obviously, no. Thanks for having me, Imran. Pleasure. Really appreciate it. My suggestion is really to know your business and know the differentiator between what you think will work versus what other people say. Just because we said, hey, go create a second website or go do this flash sale does not mean it's going to work for everyone, because everyone's brand, every category is different. So think for yourself. Don't believe everything that you hear on a webinar. That would be my one suggestion. Okay. The other thing I would say, obviously would appreciate everyone heading over to our website. We have a daily newsletter we send out with just e-commerce news. It'll help keep you guys up to date on stuff that's going on, called the Seller's Post. I suggest signing up for that guy just so you guys can stay updated on everything. And that is my shameless plug I will close with.
That's okay. Imran, if you could like to suggest something.
Andrew was bang on. Honestly, don't listen to anyone. Don't follow what other companies do, to an extent, see what they did start, but everything works differently for everyone. From my experience, just go at it, just do it, basically just get into it, do it, and slowly hard work pays off. No matter what you're selling, no matter what you're doing, if you're willing to give your time and your effort and fully go for it, you'll be successful. There's nothing more to it, no matter what you're selling.